So on the 1st of July 2020, I officially ran more than 2000 km on my Saucony Kinvara 8. I know it's advised not to run too long in a pair of shoes because it loses its cushioning and there's more risk for injury. So this video is just my experience running 2000 km in a pair of Saucony Kinvara 8s. It's not really a review, so I'm not talking about the specs or comparison with other products. I'm just gonna share why I like it. By the way, I'm not a Saucony sponsored athlete. If I were, I definitely don't need to run 2000 km in a pair of shoes. And if I was sponsored, I would definitely switch the pair of shoes if I find that it's not responsive enough. But I love the brand Saucony so much, and I hope that one day, maybe I'll get sponsored by them. Since I started triathlon, I've never ran in any other shoe other than Saucony. I started with the Kinvara 4, I skipped the 5 and 6 and moved on to the 7. I've got 2 pairs of 7 and now this is my second pair of Kinvara 8. Along the way, I've also used the Virata 2, Fast Twitch, the Freedom ISO and the Peregrine 4, Type A6 and the Endorphin LSD and the Endorphin Pro. I enjoyed most of these shoes, but the Kinvara series definitely stands out from the rest. It's always the most reliable and trusted shoe, and I always find myself gravitating towards it every time I go out for a run. Even if it's a long run, tempo run or a speed run, the Kinvara always happens to be on my feet. I don't know why. Yeah, and so I pay for all my shoes with my own money, and that's why I'm not keen on spending over $300 on the latest Nike Alpha Fly. I will want to stretch the usage of my shoes as far as possible. Now, there are a few reasons why I can run so long in these pair of shoes. Firstly, I'm a light runner, I'm only 57 kg, and so that means with every foot strike, I'm producing less force on the ground than someone heavier than me. Second reason is that I run on my midfoot. Midfoot runners generally have a more efficient foot strike. I think it's because when you land on your midfoot, the whole sole is touching the floor, and so not one part is wearing out more than the rest. And thirdly, I do most of my runs at home on the treadmill. Maybe out of the 2000 km, I think at least more than half of it is on the treadmill. So that means this shoe is not really facing the harsh conditions of like the trail and the roads so often. Like for example, the McRitchie trail run I did 3 weeks ago. Another reason why I want to max out the utility in these shoes is that shoes are a perishable item, so that means when you throw it away, you can't get back any money, right? So in order to save money on perishable items such as shoes, I always buy my shoes used, and they are the older model, and the older model it is gonna be even cheaper. So even though the Saucony 11 just came out, I still buy the Saucony Kinvara 7 or 8 if I can find one secondhand for less than $50. So that's how you save a bit of money on shoes and make the sport of running a bit less costly. So yeah, I always recommend anyone to buy the previous model of a pair of shoes. After all, as you know, each improvement is only marginal, and the older models are already great and well-established shoes. While I do believe I could have ran over 2000 kilometers in any other pair of shoes, I felt that the Kinvara 8 was the best one for the job, or otherwise I wouldn't have enjoyed the experience as much. Like if the shoes were heavier, it will probably feel a bit different, possibly a bit more sluggish. Even though the Kinvara is not the most responsive shoe, for example, you got your carbon plated Nikes and Hokas for that, it's definitely one of the most comfortable shoes I've ever been in. So you need to find a good balance between lightweight and comfort. Lightweight because you want the shoe to feel snappy on your feet, and comfort because you want to have a good experience in the shoe. And the word comfort to me means no hot spots, no blisters or abrasions. So the Kinvara 8 fits the bill perfectly. And it's this good experience which draws me to the shoe every single run. For me, the Kinvara 8 started to lose its responsiveness after about 1200 kilometers. And how you know whether the shoe is less responsive is when it feels like a slipper when you run. There's no like spring in the step, and the cushion doesn't really bounce back. And at this point, many runners would choose to throw away their shoes to avoid the risk of getting injured. But for me, if the shoe isn't broken, why not use it more? In my point of view, if the shoe is not responsive anymore, I don't think I will get a very huge injury, because I think running form plays a more important factor in injury prevention. So that means even if you got a new shoe but running with poor running form, you still may be more likely to get injured than me. And so after 2032 kilometers, I've just busted a hole in the upper, and so I think it's finally time to retire these pair of shoes. This grey Kinvara 8 is my second pair of Kinvara 8s, and the previous pair of Kinvara 8 I ran for 1400 kilometers. And right now it's currently my break shoe. And that means after 1400 kilometers, I've swapped out the standard laces for elastic laces. That's what I do for most of my shoes nearing the end of its life. But maybe for these shoes I probably won't even do it. And so it's finally time to get a new shoe. And as usual, it's a second-hand shoe of an old model. And can you guess what it is? It's the Saucony Kinvara 8 again. And as you can see from the outsole, the previous owner hardly ever ran in it as well. and I bought these shoes for only $45. So perhaps this pair of shoes could last me another 2,000 kilometers on my feet, and that would be well worth the money. Alright, comment below what's the furthest distance you ever ran in a shoe, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in the next video. Bye!